also hit the...
Oh, yeah, we can hit that. What's up, everybody? What's happening? No, go awkward white guy high five.
Okay, high five.
Yeah, this is,
okay.
yeah, that was bowling high five.
All right, let's see. And there we go. There we go. Yeah, one more. All right. Yeah,
We understood the assignment. That was about as awkward white guy as we could get
really
there.
was, honestly.
What is up, everyone? This is our Tuesday show, Cigar Talk Live, where you beautiful people get to sit with those beautiful people that I get to sit with and have a little conversation. Hopefully you're smoking something. Hopefully you're drinking something on that side. If you are, let us know what it is. Make sure you help us spread the word by commenting, sharing. We have production squad week 2 over here. So if you do have good questions that come through, they will actually make sure that we stay on top of it. So the more quirky, the better, to a certain degree. This evening, we have the Junior Soultrane with us.
How am I the?
Because you're the only one I know that is the Junior Soultrane.
Yeah.
So, but welcome back. We've had you on before. I truly, thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. Adrian was not here last time we had the conversation.
I missed it. Yeah, and I heard it was a great conversation, so really looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
Of course, you got Pops over there.
Yeah, I'm here.
You got Adrian over here. Junior, what an absolute pleasure again. I always revel in the opportunity to sit and have a conversation with you.
Likewise.
Myself, I am Brandon, and let's cheers and start the show. What do you say?
Cheers. Start the show. And while we're cheersing, let's welcome our friends Kevin Amick in from Georgia. Let's welcome the Adams in from LaGrange, Missouri. And everybody else is coming in from coast to coast, border to border. Good day, mates and misses.
And thank you to Crux Cigars for sponsoring this evening's show.
Yeah. Tonight's show brought to you by Crux Cigars. How's that sound?
Bull and Bear.
It sounds very FM radio.
Very
Yeah.
Can I just hop straight into it with a question
Might as well.
that Evan and I have been thinking about lately?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And we've had multiple conversations over there. Also, you're about as sweaty as I am already. For those of you who don't know, we're sitting in the new construction spot. HVAC piping is going to be in the back of the frame. It's not in. It's not working. But let's just grab the shovel quick here. Passion and purpose. How do you guys define both passion and purpose? And maybe importantly, as a good jumping point, is how do you differentiate someone's passion versus someone's purpose?
What's going on over there?
Smoking crack on the production table.
Merry Christmas.
What do you guys think?
Jeez, that's right off the bat. That's a solid question.
Yeah. Leave it to Brandon to ask a question that makes you think.
Do you want me to ramble on for a second?
No.
Perspective?
I'll kick it off and we'll I got really nothing to say until Junior starts talking, then shit starts to really come into focus. But I think there is, I think people have to define their purpose, what their purpose in life is, what their purpose in, whether it's family, it's their business, whatever that is, define that, and then be passionate about it. So to me, it's almost 2 parts. It's, what is your purpose? And when you guys came along, it became real simple. My purpose was to raise 3 good men. Mm-hmm. My passion became the things that were involved to make that happen. So that was the purpose. So I don't know that it's one and the same. I think to me it feels like 2 different things.
Passion and purpose, right?
Yeah,
that's what we're doing. I guess over the years, I guess my passion is people. That's probably my biggest thing now is I want to see people happy. I think now we're in a world, obviously coming off of COVID and things of that nature, mental issues that are out there, and people are just kind of in this lone state. Is how can I just really make people happy with just the smallest thing of just shaking their hand and say, hey, how are you doing today? And actually meaning it. It's not one of those things that we've just been locked into to speak. I'm sure your dad taught you, hey, know your manners, speak to somebody when they come in, but then actually really mean it. And I think that's my biggest passion now is just, hey, like getting to where it's just like, I really truly want to know how you're doing.
How does that play into your purpose? And what is that? And how would you define that?
I don't really know what that purpose is my purpose is probably to really leave this place in a better state than I found it. That's when it comes into my family life, when it comes into my life here. What cigar lifestyle is. I don't know what we call our cigar lifestyle, but then it's the passion of
I love that.
just knowing that everybody is happy, or my passion, I think, is I want everybody to be happy.
Yeah, it seems like your purpose, your passion is how you get to your purpose, and your purpose seems to be helping people.
Yeah.
The amount of times I've heard you say that, it's just about helping people. It's about whatever that looks like. A handshake could help somebody.
Yeah. I think my purpose is to see that joy, right? Because I'm happy when I sit back and know that somebody is happy, and and that I played a little bit part of that, and it was actually genuine. It's like I wanted to see them smile. Came into the shop tonight. I see this couple in there all the time here of late. And the lady goes, "Hey, AJ." I'm like, "Oh, snap, I don't know your name." Oh, crap.
It's a bad
but
feeling.
they remembered me.
Yeah.
And just because I made it a point to go and speak to them,
Yeah.
and made sure that, I'm going to try to remember your name. I have that. That's something I'm working on. But I at least want to extend my hand out and say, hey, I get it. I understand. The world beat you up. You came here, wherever you're at, and you don't want wherever you're going out in the world to beat you up. And so that's probably my biggest purpose, is to eliminate some of the problems that you had that actually got you out.
I saw that Saturday. AJ came up at the end of the night, and I invited him to come back and sit in the back with us and just hang out. There was a bunch of us, and he had a friend sitting out front, and he was like, "Nope, my guy's going through some stuff right now. I have to have a conversation with him."
That's good.
And you could tell he was embracing what he had to do. He had to have a conversation with somebody that was having a time, and it was like, we offered up the back and stuff if it needed to be private, but he's like, "No, I can have that conversation out here, and we just need to talk about some things." But I could tell he was committed to that. Committed to the conversation.
Yeah, and I felt some kind of way too, right? Because I was like, I'm trying to stretch myself thin to everybody, right? And I got it offered up, and it's like, and Dave knows how much I feel about him, and I love the family and things of that nature. And I didn't want them to feel some kind of way. I was like, he offered me up something, and I walked out on him.
No.
But I felt that way,
but I felt what you felt that you needed to do something, not wanted to do something.
Yeah, and the gravity of that situation.
No, it was obvious, and you were very cordial about it. Don't.
But how cool is it to think and walk away from that situation to say you were the catalyst. You and your family were the catalyst to make that happen, right? In your lounge, sitting here.
It's very humbling.
Why we do it.
It's very humbling to us to think about the connections that people have made. Early on, we had a situation where we had a younger guy that had come to me, and he said, "Look, I went through a divorce. I had trouble, and I was literally orchestrating. I was going to call it quits." And he goes, "But something said I just need to go to the shop." And he came to the shop, and he got around people, and he realized that there was a reason way beyond this situation that he had at home. But when you hear that, we just opened a cigar lounge. I mean, that's what we did. But to think that the impact that it's had on people because they have a venue that's safe, that they can have that conversation, get to know somebody, know the people that they're there, and feel comfortable to open up. I think it was never, you don't put that in a business plan.
Adrian, how do you balance those things together? Or do you separate them?
No, I think they're definitely joined, but they play off each other. And
can you have one without the other?
I would say so. You definitely can. I was going to add that I think a lot of us sitting here have different passions, right? Pops has what you grew up with, motorcycle, motocross type stuff. Brandon, you do, getting into, you know, race car driving, things like that. But the one thing, and I think all our passions is this, right? And many times we call this the equalizer. And regardless of the person's background, what they do for a living, what they've had in the past, what they're capable of in the future, we can all just sit here and just have a great conversation on this.
Yeah.
Right. And it solves a lot of issues, personal issues that we have, and it creates businesses. I'm sure all those conversations have happened here and flourished just out in a cigar shop.
And really, in the end, that's what Cigar Talk Live became. It originally was a Cigar 101. And, you know, Zach's going to try to screw things up by asking us a cigar question. When's the new Crux Habano coming out?
Soon, my
Soon.
man. And you will be able to get them here.
You will be able to get them here. But that's what we're going to talk about cigars on Cigar Talk Live, unless you guys have a cigar question.
Yeah.
But Cigar Talk Live really morphed into your ability to eavesdrop in on four of us just having a conversation. Just so happens we have a microphone so you can hear us better. But this is the type of conversation you want to have in a cigar lounge. This is a conversation you want to have with men and talk through things, because we just don't always have that opportunity. You know, that's
I agree.
Well, I think men and women, you know, I think just anyone, at the end of the day, you can easily stay inside your own head. But sometimes you just need to, you know, sometimes you have to just call and vent to somebody. Okay, well, that's it. That's all I needed to do. You cool with that? Okay, I'm good with that. And I think, unfortunately, not enough people have experienced this, or have experienced it negatively. And I think we're always working kind of on our heels with this. And you're exactly right, Pops. This started as Cigars 101 and then something else. But at the end, it goes to the original question: is what are you passionate about? We're passionate about people and relationships and friends and family, and what it is to be in a cigar lounge and in the environment. And I think the gravity very organically pulled us back to this, because this is what we want to do. Because you don't need to know wrapper, binder, filler, how to smoke it, how to cut it, how to light. You don't need to know that stuff to enjoy it. I think you need the right company, or no company at all, whatever works best. But I think you just have to realize that it's okay however you want to smoke a cigar. Do it however you want to do it. If it's once a year, once a day, who gives a shit what it is? At the end, the most important thing to what we do and what we're truly passionate about is being a catalyst for these conversations, making sure that during your conversation, you don't have the distraction of fill in the blank of any sort of negative externality that could introduce. We have to create that hospitable environment where you feel comfortable, bring your guards down. Naturally, this knocks your guard and ego down. But it's very interesting to think what life would look like without this.
I agree.
well.
Do you guys ever think about that?
I do.
I mean, when my fingers are in this position and I have a cigar in my hand, it's like I'm willing to receive. I'm willing to open up. I'm willing to. I realize I've shut everything off. I very rarely will sit with a cigar and then think about work. You know, it's almost like, okay, I'm open. Okay, here's AJ. I know we're not going to talk about work. We're just going to have a conversation. And it's almost like this is the switch that triggers it.
Is it not like this?
More or less.
You know, I mean, at a certain element, is it not like putting your hands together to pray? Because there's almost something physical that just unlocks you to the next thing, right? It's like this ancient pinky lock of destruction, and you just have this. You feel that pressure.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I could actually see exactly what you're saying, because obviously, when I do put a cigar in my hand, I don't think about anything else, and so it's like I just shut down with everything that's negative going on, and it's like it's that neutral zone, or that matrix, that I'm just in this zone where I'm just like, okay, I don't want to do anything else but focus on this. And once it gets my mind to where I'm focused on this, now I can open up and think about other things, and I can have a good, decent conversation with somebody, or not. If not, at least I'm in my thoughts, and my thoughts are Not thinking about work, not thinking about anything.
Yeah.
You know, if anything, I'm thinking about, okay, who's the next person that's walking through the door? And, you know, and I'm going, okay, all right, it's Dave right there. All right, I've had a conversation. We always got conversation. Who's that guy over there? You know, who's that lady over there? Let's go over there and let's talk to them and let me find their passion of how did they get to this, you know?
How did they, or how did they get here?
Yeah.
Here.
And we'd want to know from you guys. Go ahead and type out, what are some of your passions? What is your purpose in life? And share that stuff. Let's. This is an interactive show for sure.
Yeah, please feel free. And
so today, I mean, we're talking about, you know, the equalizer, and we're coming into Cigar Lounge. When I came in today, not by any means as an avid cigar smoker, but I sat down and I didn't light up for like an hour and a half because I was just having a conversation.
Yeah.
Right. I hadn't seen Baptiste in a while. We were talking about him and trapping raccoons and skinning them and bleaching the skulls and that type of stuff. And we just got into conversation and I just didn't light up, but not because I didn't want to. It was just, you know, I'm here with my people. We all share this passion, whether it be the cigar, hunting, shooting, you know, whatever it is. But I just enjoyed having that conversation, sitting next to Kayla, you know, talking about whatever the conversation she was having with Ryan that, you know, you were there for. And it was just interesting, right?
Oh, it was interesting. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. Anytime you talk to Kayla, it's an interesting conversation. Yeah, we love her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think to your point, right? You were in the lounge, but importantly in this element of community.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think is innately a part of any cigar lounge. Could be a good community, could be a negative community.
Yeah.
But there is a community element, maybe because it's all secondary. We don't talk about cigars on Cigar Talk Live.
Yeah.
It's not important.
Interesting.
You know, because, I mean, partially because we've done the hard work to make sure we've got the good cigars here. But it's interesting, AJ, you talk about your process. Your process seems like you come in, you light up, you get yourself right. Once yourself is taken care of, and you've got a little rhythm, now you seek out someone else. Am I hearing that right? Is that your process?
So my process is actually to come in, set my bag down, and obviously go and greet everybody. That's my process to start. Before I even light up, I want everybody to know, hey, I recognize you. Hey, I appreciate you being here. You know, I'm late to the party, but I appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Because you could have been anywhere else. Like we talked about Saturday with my friend, as we were on the phone, you know, I was like, I could come to you. I could go over here and we can do whatever you want to do. We can go here, here, and here. And he was like, I want to go to industrial. Because he knew the atmosphere that he was going to get there. And for the conversations we had, he was like, I want to go there.
He knew it was a safe place.
Yes. And so it was like, we got here. And even though it was people out there, we could still have our conversation and still be good, still be in a safe place where not concerned that this person or this person is listening to our conversation. And for him to tell me that, and he's not an avid cigar smoker. I mean, he's probably smoked more cigars coming here than he's ever did in his life. But the atmosphere got him to say, man, I am going through something. I need to sit and talk to you. You know, yeah, you could have came to my house. I could have came to yours. But he was like, I want to go to industrial.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow.
Powerful.
That was the most powerful thing to me, because he knew that he could pour his heart out right here and know that he was in a safe zone to sit back and talk through it, and that any judgment towards him was left at that door. Nobody had any kind of judgment of anybody that walked in there.
And what's cool is 4 other people could have been sitting around you and they would have been just as eager to help.
Yes.
You know, that's what's cool about the community.
Yeah, I think it's what we say, welcome to the family. Now we've found out that other people in the lounge or in the area have stolen welcome to the family. I'll leave that as it is. But
we should be
the reality is, when you care to the same degree, I don't know your friend's name. Yeah. We don't need to for the sake of this conversation. But I care like a family member. If a family member's hurting, you want to do everything in your power to make sure it's there. We have a distinctly different role, but it's very heartwarming and humbling to hear that he chose here. That's what success looks like. Success doesn't look like, how many cigars we sell, or how full is membership, or any of the dollars. That's success to me. That's. Bob said, it looks like there were some people putting in some good.
Yeah, no, Zach Patterson's coming in. He's passionate about video games. Mark Meyer, Jason Wayne. Yeah, Mark just came in with the peace sign. That's a lot of talk.
Two things.
Mark. Yeah.
Two things.
Yeah. Jason Wayne, the Greek meaning of passion means to suffer. To me, you find purpose, then you become passionate. So Patrick is in.
Is that
smoking a good cigar?
Is that Patrick who was in the lounge there?
Yep.
Oh shit!
That's
Patrick and his wife back there.
Yep.
I don't know if I've actually met him yet.
I heard an interesting story.
Thank you for coming in, Patrick.
I heard an interesting story from Andrew. He was talking to somebody that has just closed on some land, and I want to say it's in New Mexico. I might be wrong there. They closed on some land. Their intention was to build a house, do their thing, and then the realization was there's no industrial there, so they're selling the land.
What?
And they're going to stay here.
I'll fucking buy it.
Yeah. No, but look, I mean, what does that say?
Means we got to scale.
It says, yeah, we're not opening a store in New Mexico, sorry. But, and I know Zach is not happy about that. But
he's moving.
I think what it says is that when you can create this environment, I hate to say it in a negative way, but people become addicted to the connection.
Sure.
And it's just because those connections aren't made. I've had friends that I've worked with that I thought we were going to be friends forever. And I haven't talked to them since I left. Whatever ladder step I was on at the time, I just don't talk to them. So it's just, I think there's something powerful that goes on when somebody knows that they can have, they're in a place where they can enjoy that experience. I'm glad we're seeing Patrick and his wife more and more, and super, super excited.
Yeah, I can't wait to have them as members as well. Yeah, that's, there is power.
Jeremy says, you guys have carried since day one. Brandon, you specifically asked how you could help Jeremy's kid a couple years ago with something, and that was very good.
Well, you got to do the right thing.
Yep.
Still stands today, I'm sure.
No, it's, well, thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate that. Appreciate the kind words.
Well,
it's,
that was a few years ago, he said.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember that. No, it's great. It's what we do here. I think we've, from a Frakes family perspective, I think we've done a good job of welding passion and purpose together. And to Evan and I's conversation now a couple of months ago, we really tried to identify, what is this? What is the difference? And can you have one without the other? And I think you can, but I don't think you can succeed. Stick with me here.
Okay.
I think you can be passionate, as the Lions Not Cheap guy is. He's passionate about his brand.
Yeah.
But what gives him purpose? Maybe what gives him purpose is driving a Lamborghini. I don't know. And maybe he's fulfilled in that point. But I think in order to truly be successful, you must first identify your purpose and then identify your passion. And maybe it can come backwards. Maybe you can find a passion that becomes your purpose, like this did. Right? We found this passion. Oh my God, this is a great thing. We should open this. And then you realize we really have a couple of purposes here. We've got our family, the Frakes family, and the extension in our secondary family with our ICC family. Because everything that we do, there isn't a dinner. Honestly, there is not a dinner at the house. There is not a Sunday that we're all together that we're not talking about this place. And that's what I would say is to throw caution to the wind to anyone wanting to get into a family business is you better be goddamn sure that that's what you want to get into, because that is your life forever. you know, and it is every aspect of your life. And I'm just so absolutely blessed to have something to this caliber and to this quality, and with this caliber and quality of people. It makes life easier. You know, it's very impactful, I think.
Well, some great comments coming in too. So
what do you got over on the comments?
Zach, who lives in New Mexico, said the moment he stumbled across the podcast, y'all have welcomed me as family. Never met me before. Y'all still welcomed me, a newbie who knew little to nothing about cigars, and y'all couldn't give a damn how much I knew. You just embraced the questions, educated me, and had amazing conversations with me, even though it was digital. So, and we had that same experience with Larry Adams and his wife, Julie, who ultimately met us by our shows, but then drove 10 and a half hours to be here. And then when they came in, it was like old home week. They knew everybody that sat in the background of the show. Hey, you know, that's JJ over there, and that's Ty over there.
Josh.
I mean, it's just pretty incredible.
Yeah, look at Josh.
Yeah, so talk about Josh.
Yeah, Josh
Same story.
Started watching the show.
Yeah.
Became part of it. He works here now.
Wow.
I mean, he's going to be the fabric of the future of the company.
But I think there's one key part to that too, is he was into cigars. He stumbles into the show. He's watching the show. He was very active, made comments. And I said, hey, if you're ever in the Frisco area, stop in and see us. And he goes,
I live in Frisco.
I live in Frisco.
Born and raised.
Yeah, born and raised.
Right.
I said, well, why don't you come in? And he goes, I'm afraid to go to a cigar lounge.
He's never been to a cigar lounge.
No,
Wow.
he was afraid to come in. He felt intimidated. And he came in, and a couple months later, he works for us.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the opposite. Now he's giving the experience.
Yeah.
You know, just incredible.
He does a great job.
Yeah, he does.
Give him finger and all.
I hope he's watching for that. Junior, talk to us. What is the biggest challenge you have in your life right now?
Ooh, I mean, there's so many challenges in there, and I guess probably my biggest challenge is I'm in this season of healing, right? And so
From an experience?
from personal life, from gathering people around me that are going through things, whether they have some kind of medical problem that they're healing through. I'm doing a lot of research on trying to learn what it is that they have and try to talk through that. But it's like that healing part on my end. And like I said, I'm in that season. You know, I've been in that season for a while, which is, in my healing side of it is, you know, being heartbroken, you know, family issues of not there, you know, I have issues with, you know, even with my brother and things of that nature, and mom, and, you know, relationship, just a personal relationship and things of that nature. And it's a lot better when I'm not thinking about those things, when I've been captured on what everybody else is going through, because what I realize is that I'm not the only one. And sometimes we can get on that island for whatever the situation is, and it's like, I'm the only one that's going through this. And you start feeling like that, and then you start feeling down about yourself, and you don't see a way out. And my way out was to get out. All right. And I've always said that I could go and, you know, smoke on my patio and I'm good, you know, but then I'm still in the house and I'm still thinking about, you know, I'm in the house and things of that nature. And, you know, and for relationships not working out, what does that look like? And, you know, the one thing I come up here and I'm like, everybody's in a relationship and they look all happy and things. And I'm like, you suckers, y'all. I just do not like this right here. And I'm like, that's supposed to be me, you know, but then I look at it and I embrace it, you know, because it also gives me that hope for the future, you know, and saying, okay, that's still there. You know, love is still there. You know, relationships are still there and people are showing it. I'm not saying that it's perfect every day, but you're showing when you're out, you know, I know all of your wives and things and here when they're out, they're just like, I mean, they show up, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I welcome that. And so with my friend and bringing my friend here and several friends here, I'm like, you got to experience it. And then you understand what you're going through, come here. You know, and I always call it, this is a family reunion for me. Every time I walk in the door, this is a family reunion. If you've ever been to a family reunion, you know, it's family you probably haven't seen in a while and things of that nature, probably don't even know, and you're trying to get to know them. And so when I come in here, that's what this is. This is a family reunion to me, and y'all made it that way, that you open up the doors to the house, you know, your grandparents' house, and you're out here and y'all come on in and you sit, you know how to behave, as they say, you know how to behave in here, and you never have to say anything about, you know, that with people.
Yeah.
And they just welcome it.
It's interesting, and I want to learn more, just you know, learn me something here culturally. In the Latino culture, are family reunions big? I mean, fuck, you're half Mexican or whatever you are. Is that big as far as family reunions? Because in the Black community, that is part of family. I've been to Eppley Airport when, you know, a family reunion's happening, and everyone's got their shirts on, and it's a whole event. It's like a trade show. You know, there's hundreds of people that are there. In our community where we're from, the family I haven't seen, that's my choice. I don't want to see them. Right? It's easy for us to cast that out, but I don't know if it's like that.
It's funny that you say that. So the only time that, at least in my family, we would get together as a whole with extended family and just the outliers is quinceañeras, weddings, which could be, you know, few and far between. However, when I started first dating Kathleen, and she's Berry, right? She's white. They had a family reunion, all these berries from everywhere, and I was like, that was my first ever family reunion. They had polo shirts made up and embroidered Berry family reunion, and I think I still have it, and it was like that was weird to me.
Yeah. But I mean,
it was
the
cool.
Latin family is just connected whether they like them or they don't.
We're connected, yeah, regardless. And the inner circle of family would get together on weekends and, you know, holidays and things like that. Extended family was only for those big events. But we never, at least my family, never did the whole reunion thing, like once a year type thing.
Yeah, it seems it's bigger in the Black community, right?
It is.
I love it.
Where
It is.
naturally they come in and it's a whole experience. Is it? Will you please just talk about what that experience
do you
is
know
like?
who your cousins are?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I do.
I have no clue.
Well,
I'm not even sure if I have cousins. I'm pretty sure maybe I do.
And I know who mine are, but do I talk to them? It's been years.
Yeah, I couldn't find them.
Unfortunately.
In all fairness, you're 2 years
It makes me
older than
sad.
your aunt.
Yeah, well.
My grandma was a hoe.
No one said my family is normal.
My grandma was a hoe.
Yeah. World War II is a bitch, man.
That's a tagline right there.
Yeah. My grandmother was a hoe. Yeah, that's.
Put that down.
I need that T-shirt. Yes, I definitely need that T-shirt.
So what's that experience like? How is that where you take somebody you don't know, it's a stranger, but it's a family member?
I don't look at him as a stranger. You know, I give everybody the opportunity to show themselves. So nobody can tell me anything about you guys, anybody that I met in here last year before last, or whatever, whether they had a bad experience with you or anything like that. It doesn't matter to me, you know, because people can change. All right. And so they're riding high off of that one bad experience that they had with you, or two, or whatever it may be. And they're going to hold on to that. And then they don't ever expect you to change. Where me, I look at, I met you right now, you know, and it's just kind of, I still remember that first day I walked in here.
Saturday morning.
Yeah. You know, and you were like, come on in, you know, and you were happy. And Pops was over there and he kind of gave that look like, you know, there he is inviting people in the house again. You know, I don't know him, but okay. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. But they can't tell me anything because I'm riding off the marriage that you're giving me right now, you know, and you've never done anything wrong to me. It's okay. I'm not saying that people won't ever do that to you, but you need to at least give them the benefit of the doubt that they are trying to change in their lives and things. And, you know, I know there's people out there that probably would have some negative to say about me, you know, and it's like, I get it. I understand the situation, you know. Hopefully you can change that. But then it's some people that you probably like, yeah, you probably need to keep saying some negative stuff towards me. You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with you anyway, you know,
Right.
and there's a reason behind that, you know, but people that I interact with, those are, I'm like, I genuinely want to be with those people and I want to be around those people. And again, the relationships that we build, that bond starts from that day, you know, and our conversations and our interactions, that's it. So to me, it doesn't matter what was going on last year and things of that nature, or somebody goes, I don't like that family over there. Well, that's you. You know, what did you do? That's always so. What did you do that you don't like them? What happened? You know, and if it comes to, well, they had to kick me out again, what did you do?
Yeah. Yeah. What's the other side of the story?
Yeah, you know, there's always two sides to the story, right? You know, I'm in a relationship and I'm like, you know, when we started talking, and I was talking to my friend about that too, is that, you know, I was like, you only heard her story. The guy has a story too, you know, and what was his story on that side for you to sit back and now you don't like this guy because of something she said? I don't take it that way. You know, I'm not going to sit here and formulate my opinion on someone based off of because you don't like them.
Now, that's a certain level of maturity that some people just don't have.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's too difficult. You know, I think we're a headline. I think regardless of the generation, we're a headline generation. We'll read the headline. We'll move on to the next. But the reality is, it's not even necessarily a fault of each individual person. It's the world that we live in. I think, you know, it's. I've got more stuff to do this week than I have time to do it.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? Am I going to? I trust this dude. So he's going to tell me something. No, I trust it. That's good. That's good enough for me. Let's all fill in the rest and let's move on. Right. You don't have that time to invest into, well, let me go seek out the other side of the story. Let's run through it. You know, so I think you're right. I think you have to trust, but you have to keep your, you don't want to have blinders on. You have to understand what's around you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes with a relationship, right? You've had 99 relationships and they all went bad. Are you not going to give that 100 relationship the same opportunity that you gave those other 99? And that could be the relationship that's there. You know, sometimes it's like, well, I'm living off the past. This hasn't worked. 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 And then you finally find that, oh, wait a minute, this actually works. Because during that time, you're actually self-evaluating yourself, or hopefully you are. Self-evaluating yourself of why is this not working? Is it something about me? Am I set in my ways? Am I not going to compromise? You know, am I not being empathetic to what they have going on? You know, and so I always go in with that. You know, I'm automatically hoping that I'm going to have a great relationship with anybody, whether it's, you know, male or female. I'm going to have a great relationship, and if it doesn't work out, then I move on to that next one. I'm going to have a great relationship with that person automatically. I didn't put those blinders up on them because I'm giving them the same amount of effort that I gave the last person in developing and building that relationship. And a lot of times we don't do that. Again, you know, you meet somebody and the first thing you want to do is go to their social media page and let's look at what, you know, what does it say on there? I don't like social media like that. You know, I'm really not on social media as much just because of that, because we formulate, you know, our opinions on those people based off of what we see on there. And I'm like, but that's not really the people. That's probably an out for them that they needed to get something out. But we're stuck here saying that's who they are. Right. And that's not who they really truly are until you sit down and talk to them. And again, like you say, you ain't got to sit down there and have a smoke. You know, we smoked Saturday and then we just talked. And I was like, that was perfect for me because I'm in an atmosphere where I can smoke or I can have a great conversation. You know, I can bond, I can sit here. We sat out there and we shed a few tears, you know, but it was like, we didn't care about anybody judging us that were around us. We were in a moment because we were in the safest place that we knew that we could be in outside of our homes, and that was here. And so I'm appreciative of that because that culture, you didn't probably see this in the beginning, but that culture now, you know, it's like I see it now and I'm like, man, I can just imagine what the next 10 years are going to be like. And the people that are going to come in and the people that are going to leave and the people that are, and what it's going to look like, and then those that leave and then come back going, I went back out in the world and I realized that this home here was a whole lot better than what anybody else has.
Well, think about people who have done that in their careers. Yeah. You know, they're going along, their boss pisses them off, and all of a sudden, the next thing you know, grass has got to be greener on the other side. Yeah. And they jump, and then they're like, oops. And then, you know, the amount of humble pie you got to eat to try to get back in. And sometimes you just don't get back in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Like you said, 10 years, if all of the AJs of the world are creating this foundation, it's going to be a pretty tall building when it's all said and done.
It's going to be a tall building. It's going to be a stable foundation.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Well, you know, sometimes the grass is greener on the other side, but you're going to have a high-ass water bill.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's just be honest.
If you live in Frisco. They're pumping pure vodka or something into our yards because that shit is expensive.
Yep.
You spoke about, you touched on this briefly when you were talking about, I think, personal growth. And it comes to that humble pie element, which is you have to be introspective. You have to look at yourself. You have to continuously evaluate what you're doing. And I'm curious from you guys, for me to learn, what do you guys do to basically pull that view back to have the 30,000-foot view of what you're doing in your life? How do you evaluate where you're at, where you're going? What do you do from maybe a mechanic standpoint that allows you to go, okay, this is where I'm at today. It's not where I'm going to be, but this is how I'm going to get to where I want to be.
I think it's having those conversations with people who maybe I think are successful, and, you know, put aside, you know, houses, vehicles,
this stuff
money,
doesn't
which is all material, right?
Yeah.
I think it's like, hey, I see you all the time, and you're happy. You have what I think is a good career. How did you get there? What's that secret? And I think it's having those conversations, and it doesn't have to be specific about how much money you make or anything like that. It's just like, what are you doing to get up in the morning, feel good about yourself going into work, and then feeling accomplished at the end of the day, and then be able to sit down here at a cigar shop and then smoke an Atabey, essentially, or a Bull and Bear.
Thank you, Clark Cigars.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that
it's solid.
AJ's been around the block almost as many times as I have, and so with that, you know, you eventually get, maybe we'll call it wisdom, but I think early on in my life, I mean, I think back into my 20s, early 30s, if I stepped in it, I made a mistake, I would find who to blame it on.
Yep.
And I think that once I made the realization that I own my mistakes, if I step in something and I make the mistake, and you're an idiot, don't make the mistake. What's the lesson learned? And then go forward from that point on. But I think a lot of people, they'll stop and look for somebody to blame.
Right.
And I think progress, that forward momentum, it's look, you know, they say misery loves company. And the thing is people will get stuck in that quicksand. But if somebody at an early age, if you say you're doing some learning tonight, if somebody at an early age can learn that, oh man, I made a mistake here, my bad, I did it, I own it, I'm not going to do it again. If you affected anybody around you, let them know, hey man, this on me. And move forward. The path stays smoother from that point on. But I've seen people that are my age that are just miserable people. There was a guy that I worked with that retired from the oil company, but he was always pissed because it was always somebody else. You know, that son of a bitch and that son of a bitch. And he was stuck. I don't know if he's still cranky. I'm assuming he is, but
is he even still alive?
Yeah, he
is.
That's a valid question.
That's a lot of stress.
It's success and lessons. It's not success and failure. But you have to commit to that. If you make the mistake, man, I screwed up. Be the first one to say, I'm sorry. You can't defend, I'm sorry. I mean, if somebody says, I screwed up, I made a mistake, it's my fault, I apologize. Somebody can't go, yeah, but you're an asshole. Well, I know that. Yeah. I just apologized for it. Let's move on.
But but it can be an easy out. I think it can be an easy out. And here's why. If your default is I'm sorry, I messed up.
Yeah, you can no.
And you just continuously mess up and mess up and mess up and mess up.
If you messed up, I'm sorry. You gotta change.
Then you've got to change what you need to do.
Right,
I think that takes introspection to go, why am I always apologizing?
It doesn't give you permission to continue to screw up.
Right.
Because you said you're sorry. That isn't a get out of jail free card.
Yes.
You have to genuinely, I'm not going down this road anymore. I'm going down this road.
Yes.
And make the change. And that's I think how you'll see forward momentum. You'll see forward progress.
Yep. But yeah, you can't use it as a defense mechanism.
No. But you need to own it early. And that's the one thing with you being young, I would say own it early. If you know that you really truly made a mistake, own it. You know, I could say I held on to him for years before I finally would, because I just didn't want to say I'm sorry. Or I recognize that I made, I did it. But if that's a lesson, to sit back and say, I know that I made this mistake, I apologize for the mistake, this is what I'm doing to not have this mistake again. Not saying I won't make other mistakes, because obviously there's no manual for any of the stuff that we're doing anyway.
Nope.
So I'm learning as I go, and every situation is different. But if it comes down to love, love, which is the biggest thing, right? Whether it's a person, whether it's your business and work and things of that nature, you're truly going to want to make that change. I know I did this. I'm never going to do that again. And
doesn't that all go towards feeling better about yourself too?
It does.
Because your family will thrive if you're happy.
Yes.
And that's part of it.
I think there's a healthy diet in eating humble pie every day. What I mean by that is we just had something happen today that immediately you get that ego snap of like, oh, I'm going to be the solution. Okay, well, let me just talk to a few people. Let's see what they would do if they were in this position. Okay, that's different than me, because I almost rattled off something that I would have eaten a big shit pie.
Yeah.
But you listen and you go, okay, this is the direction. Okay, cool. Pull yourself out of it. Surround yourself with people that you like being around, that you can learn from, and be humble and just open the conversation of, hey, this is what I was thinking. What do you think? That's wrong. Okay, cool. I got you. Let's try it this way.
Because usually you're walking in the door with the emotion still attached.
Yes.
They're coming in without emotion tied to it, and you're going to get clarity. But you said an important thing. Listen. You got to listen. And people, some people just don't ask the questions. They just jump in. I've been guilty of swinging first and asking questions later all the time. And it just, man, the things get resolved properly when you ask the questions.
Slow it down a little. Slow it down a little. That's something driving teaches you.
But yeah, tap the brakes.
Chris Pennington, what did Chris say?
I use other people's stories and experiences as motivation, another way of learning how I can better myself. And I get that all the time from people I see.
Yeah, Chris Pennington is he is the illustration of being able to ask a lot of questions, soak that in, and put that forward.
Yeah, Zach is saying I'm guilty of that. I've built walls and calloused myself to new people because of past experiences with others. I need to open my mind up, be more like Junior, trust and give opportunity to everyone.
But don't you do and I thought about what you just said about automatically. I'm already finna swing first, things of that nature. You're into a situation. Do you ever get to that point where you already know what he's going to say? And so your defenses are already up. And so you're going into it like, I already know how he's going to respond to this. So I'm going in because I know he's going to be swinging, and I'm not going to go, I'm going in swinging too because he's going to swing versus you said you had to learn something. I automatically go out. So that's growth right there, that you sit back and say, how do I approach this?
Yeah. And to that point, I think when you reach out to people, because Trust me, it was all, the swing was ready. The swing was ready. And I knew what the next swing, exactly to your point. But there's so much power and confidence that you bring within yourself when you go, hang on, pick up the phone, talk to somebody, and go, I don't know if this is the right way. I am in a learning situation. I kind of need your help here. This is the first time I've gone through this. Help me through this. And make someone else part of your solution. Because if it fails, well, then we all, now multiple people have all learned together.
We all learned something.
We all learned something today, right? There were probably 6, 7 people that learned something today from one quick thing, or it could have been my fight. And I would still be fighting and I wouldn't be clear today. And that's the one thing that I learned is slow down, let it go with the rhythm, pay attention, ask questions. Okay, before you get into a fight, you win 100% of the fights you don't get in. So just find your maneuver around it. So that way, when you do get in a fight, they know it's not that guy's fault.
Right.
You know, he's cool and calm and collected.
I think you have to give, like, when you say no, right? People don't take no well. They really don't. They don't take no well at all. No, automatically. You have to explain why you're saying no to them. You know, no, this is not work, but let me explain to you why to get them to go back. Because we're so eager to, I do it at the job. I'm like, no. And I go on and, you know, then I'm like, I got to go back and explain this to them because they don't understand because they thought it was such a great idea. And I'm like, I need to show you how this is going to impact something else and how it's going to impact this. And you need to look at it differently and things. But I'm quick to just be like, no. And what do you mean no? Oh, I want this to work for me versus I need you to compromise with me and understand what I'm saying and why I'm saying it and how I came to the decision of no. Not just it's no just because it's AJ's way of saying it or doing things. No, that's not it. So I need to invite you into my world to understand what I'm looking at and what I'm doing differently. And that's just not just at work, but that's on anything, whether it's in a relationship or whatever. No, that's not going to work. The minute you say that, I'm automatically into, you're not listening to me anyway. You know, now I'm mad already. Now, whatever you come back and say differently, you know, you got to be able to turn and say, okay, we're having this conversation. That's why I tell everybody, you have that right to sit back. If I'm saying something to you, hold on, AJ. I know what you feel like you're saying to me is coming off well, but I'm not accepting it well. Can we start this over a little bit? Can I just get a break because I didn't take it well? I know that wasn't your intent, but can I start this over? I give everybody that power to say, okay, I didn't take it. You know, I'm loud. I automatically know I'm loud, you know, and I have to explain the manufacturing background and, you know, and I only want to give this message once and there's all this noise around and things of that nature and I'm talking loud. And when it's quiet, I don't know when to turn that volume down. So now it's like, okay, he's the loud black man, you know, and he's pissed off about something. And it's like, no, that's not it. You know, that means you don't really truly know me and know that that's not my intent. You know, we had that event this weekend. It was like the best event for me. You know, it was like, I just wanted to see people happy, you know, and it was like, it was a lot of work and things. And I did a lot of no's with other people and things. And I was moving around and, you know, behind the scenes, you didn't see the people that were more mad at me than anything. But then I made it around to see the people that were happy with that. I could accept it because I can go back and fix that. As long as I know that the majority were like, man, I had a great experience. Man, I had a good time. Man, this was it. And I'm like, that's all I wanted. I'll put in all that work and miss time up here for doing things just because that one person said I had a great time. I won.
Yeah. I think Kevin Amick brings up a great point. There's a key word in his comment. He said iron sharpens iron. But life is full of character building blocks. And so what you did today, because you took the bull by the horns in that situation, I know what you're talking about, but that showed your character. That was a character building block that was added to your foundation. That was a character move, because you know there is that natural fight,
especially for us.
Yeah, for us it's natural,
especially
and
for us.
so that was and look, in the end, if you can stack more blocks of character, that's what it's all about. Yeah. And that's always been, character and integrity and all those things are the things that I've always pounded into the boys' heads. And you're building them. And now the next time a situation goes around, they know this is a guy of character that's coming to me with a question or a solution or whatever.
You know what's real interesting with that is, and unfortunately we can't hop into this situation and talk necessarily about it, but as a Frakes, we're fighters. Physically, but we're fighters. And there was almost this sense of pride that was attached to, I'm fighting. I'm ready to fight. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to report back and I'm going to fight. But when I didn't, because it was our decision and I reflected who we were as a family, there was more pride and solace in that moment to go, I didn't do it this way. I did this way. And it almost felt like it was just, chiseling a little tunnel for a new road for us to create together. It's like, oh, we're not going to go with this route anymore. We'll still have that. We still know that road very clear. Let's maybe try this way. And as we look at growing a business, maybe that's something that we can go. We'll be placed in a situation that's difficult.
It doesn't have to be business either.
Yeah. No.
Because the same text could have came in as a personal thing, and we would have all went, let's go.
100%.
Yeah.
But I think you're exactly right. And Kevin Amick brings up a great point. It's like those character building blocks may not be blocks that you chose. Right? They may be
the
things
situation
that
created it.
They may just toss it to you.
Situation
and then you have to figure it out.
Yeah.
What are some things on your side, Aid, that you've seen that maybe someone's taken that character block and they've just kind of tossed it to you? And then you've got it in your hand, you're going, oh shit, what do I do? How, and maybe importantly on that question, instead of an example of it, is how do you identify those character building blocks and how you're going to move it forward?
Yeah, I think it goes back to how you were raised and whatever foundation was created for you, and then you kind of figure out like how would that person who taught me that, whether it be pops, my grandfather, or my family, or whatever mentor that I had at the time, how would they handle it? And you kind of think back and just like, okay, I think this is the appropriate way, and you just kind of throw it out there. You hand it back, right? And it's like, oh shit, it worked. And I've been in that situation where it's like, you think back, like, what would this other person do who I had this great respect for? And then you kind of just throw it back and, you know what, that's a great idea. Thank you. I feel much better now. It's like,
it's funny that you say that because, and almost use those words, but back in the day when the kids were growing up, everybody was wearing the elastic bands that went around their hands that said WWJD.
Sure.
What would Jesus do? And I always told the boys, just run your life with WWDS. What would Dad say?
What would Dad say?
I'm going to go do something stupid. I'm on the verge of doing something stupid.
Shit.
I'm going to ask Dad, hey, Dad, I'm going to do this. What would I say?
Yeah.
And I think that they knew at that point what the answer was going to be. Hey, I'm thinking about going out and getting in a car with a bunch of guys that are drinking, and we're going to go out and have fun. What would Dad say?
Never an option. Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean,
and your kids are going to be growing up the same way.
Yeah. I hope so, if I do it right.
Yep.
So with that, what was the conversation where, like, we're going to hang out in Dad's hot tub and smoke cigars? What would Dad say?
Well, see, that's where it changes.
We know how it ended.
Yeah.
But
yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
It was different because Pop's armor was, it was 5 inches thick. He never let, the only time I ever saw him cuss when I was younger was when we were bowling. I thought, wow, Dad's really upset he didn't get a strike. Every time he turned around, shit. Well, like, that's the only time I ever see my dad ever curse when I was younger. Right?
That was the worst curse word?
I'm sure he said other things. Oh, he said some things when I was younger, but for the most part,
Mostly in huddles.
Oh yeah,
When I was motivating 12-year-old
Yeah.
kids.
Well,
that's right. That's where you got
don't be a
coaching. Yeah.
Don't get your heads out your asses. And don't be a bunch,
Need a bunch of pussies.
Still to this day, we're playing the 49ers.
Yeah.
I still remember.
We scored.
But I knew that there was a chink in the armor there because we knew he was a closet cigar smoker.
Yeah.
We knew he had cigars. And for us, it wasn't about breaking the rules. For us, it was about emulating our hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So it was a different thing. We didn't know what the response was, what the reaction was going to be, but we knew at least there was one thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I'd never seen my dad intoxicated, but
Yeah.
there was never beer, there was never alcohol, nothing in the house. So
Yeah.
it was a different upbringing that I'm very glad that I had. But we knew that was a thing. It didn't feel like breaking the rules, even though it was definitely illegal what I was doing, buying cigars for my underage brothers. But it was definitely more for us trying to be closer to someone we revered.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing that being able to have this experience, the more you talk to guys, the more you get these opportunities to open up and share with other guys, is you get a chance to see their character come through, and you're like, man, I like that. I like that attitude. One of them, we have Jamon here, who's the brand owner. He's the owner of Definition Cigars. Thank you for coming in. But he showed me a real character move. He was coming up all the time, and our house is his house. He can come in and do whatever he wants, right? But he pulled me aside one night and he goes, "Hey man, if I'm going to be here all the time, I really got to pay. I got to pay for my membership. It can't be a free ride." I was perfectly fine with him coming in, but from that point on, I thought, you know what? When I'm in a situation now, I'm going to pay my way, whether it's free or not.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was something that was taught to me by you. But that was, from that point on, I went, I know the character of this guy.
Yep. Yep.
You and that's one example. But if you pay attention and you open up, it took me 8 seconds to know you're a man of character. 8 seconds. And that's just because I was messing around for the first 7. I mean, it was quick. But you just know. Patrick and his wife, the same thing. You just know. Craig and Nicole, you just know.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
And they live by, you live by that. It's the people that are trying to shortcut that usually are the ones that are
100%. They're the easiest to cut out.
Yeah.
And that's a huge kudos to my wife. When we went down, we stayed at Scott's, I guess you can call it a house, 50,000 square foot mansion on the beach. We've got a chef,
servants,
servants, the whole deal. And Ale's mom came over, and I watched Ale tell her mom that she's giving the family recipes to Scott and his family. And this, of course, she was okay with it, but it was the first time anyone's ever seen these recipes ever outside the family. And she said, "This is what we need to do," and they're immaculate. They're beautiful.
Holy shit.
So she created the whole recipe book and did this laser deal and created the flan, the whole thing.
Wow.
But to me, from my wife's perspective, she came up with that idea sitting and relaxing.
Yep.
Sitting and relax. You know what we should do for him? I have my great-grandmother's handwritten recipe with her signature on the bottom. I'm going to make it for them, and I'm going to give it to them. And this is sacrilege in their family. You do not give out recipes.
What was the dish?
It was a flan.
Oh,
and the flan that she makes is perfect.
It's incredible.
It's perfect.
As-
Cinco de Mayo, you had, second tier
It was here?
version. It was here. It was
I
in the
fucking
back.
missed it?
Oh, you missed it? You didn't try it?
So
was sitting there.
one, I'm not a fan of flan.
I'm telling you.
2, I missed Cinco de Mayo here, which I'm kicking my ass for.
Yep.
So I need to try the flan.
Oh, it's
Come over to the
incredible.
house. I mean, it is.
I'm there.
The texture is perfect. Everything is perfect.
Okay.
But we go back to saying and giving thanks. And Junior's here, so I won't get into our conversation what happened on Saturday. But I think.
I mean, it's all good. We can always talk about it. Now it's over with.
Well,
Right?
no,
So,
but the Cliff Notes is just.
Yeah.
You did something, and for the second time have done something very significant for our family, right? We run a family business. I've got a kid. I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old that goes to a school that's more expensive than the University of Nebraska. So it's tight. So, but the first question when they get back to the experience that you gave to our family was, all right, what are we doing for Junior? That's the first thing. We didn't look at anything. What can we possibly do for Junior to say thanks? And that's all I'm going to say about that.
And with me, though, I don't look at doing things to reap something in the back, right? I mean, I don't. I think my blessings come when they come. And I don't do things looking for blessings. That's not it. I believe in
That's character.
paying forward.
Yeah.
You know, that's the biggest thing to me. And all I ask the people is, if somebody's paid something forward to you, pay something forward to someone else. That's it. I think my mom taught me that more than anything. I wish she wasn't, my mom was a cussologist.
Yeah,
okay,
my
I
mom invented
got
a lot of the
actually
words that
all
we
of
know
that,
today.
But I mean, I appreciate it. She built, character off of that, I tried one time, she was cussing me real good, and I was like, would you cuss Jesus like that? And she says, no, but Jesus know I'm talking to you right now. But she taught me that, and she built on family. That was a big thing, why we had the family reunions, why we had to go to family reunions, why she was big on getting them together and so that you knew everybody. And I remember, some of my family I just didn't like, the way they treated me and things of that nature. And she'd always say, you can't change who your family is. Yeah. But you can change how they impact your life. Meaning that you don't necessarily, because you don't necessarily, like with family, I don't have to be around these cousins that I know, but one time a year, and see them and things of that nature. They're not in my life on a daily or anything like that. So I impact who I interact with, whether that's family, whether that's friends or anything. And I kind of understood that they're still my family. I still love them, but I do not have to have them a part of my life if they're not adding value to it.
Is that family though?
I still consider them blood. I would call them blood. I would hope that, that they came from, the same bloodline from the grandparents and things of that nature. So there's something there. And again, when people are bitter, I don't know what they've been through. And when you go through some things, that can really make you bitter, and you really look at something and you're just mad and just ticked off and just upset. Nothing's ever going right for you. And it's just like, you're mad at the whole world because everything around you is just looking great for everybody else. But then if you take that and just hang on to it, then you'll never see the happiness that could probably be sitting right next to you. You don't know because you're so bitter. And again, that's one of the things when my buddy came up here, he found a safe haven. He picked the place, from his experience. And he was like, I need to pour my heart out to you, but I need to do it here. And I was like, I know you're bitter right now. But now you can come in here and release that. And you can walk out of here and we can hug each other and we can say, hey, we are good, and it was right here that he left it all, sitting in here, and he went out and he was able to tackle those difficult problems that he had a whole lot better. But it took it here for him to do that. And so you got to learn that, something's going to make you bitter. I don't care what it is. You could drive home today and somebody cut you off and you're mad, and then right before you get home, somebody else cuts you off, and there are crazy people out here, and you're mad. But you don't have to take that energy into your house. Right. Sometimes we do, and now we're mad, and now the kids did something they weren't supposed to do, or the wife said something that wasn't supposed to do.
Slippery slope.
Yeah, and you're already mad about it versus, hey, what are you mad about? There's a lot of things to make you mad. Harp on the things that make you happy. Yeah. Yeah. Andrew told me one time, I was like, I'm blowing at these cars when I let them over on the freeway, and he's like, how do you know they don't have a kid in the front and that's why they're driving slow? Or how do you know that there's not somebody with a medical issue and things? And it made me think now, and literally, and I appreciate Andrew for that. I'm like, now I drive totally different. I don't scream at cars and things of that nature, but I never saw that until somebody told me, that, hey, think about that next person and what they might be going through. You thought that your kindness was letting them in, and then they slowed down. You know, maybe it was an opportunity for you to slow down and reflect on life itself.
How do you distinguish bitterness? I suppose that tosses out to everyone.
Mad with everything.
How do you distinguish? Meaning, how do you put it out? What happens if you find yourself with bitterness? And then how do you get yourself out of it?
So when I'm like really upset about something, and that could be with the job, that could just be with, just life in general. Y'all know my biggest thing is I go and roll my cigars. It's like, it doesn't matter. But I've also set, when I pull into my garage, and walk through the door, there's music playing. And my house is telling me, hey, don't bring that bull in here. Well, that do not come. My atmosphere is already set, so do not come in here with that. And it changes my mind. But that happens over time, that you learn that. Wisdom is, as Dave said, you have to get that. Hopefully you get that wisdom younger.
I need it.
And knowing that you got to find some form of advice to where you can just sit and relax and just say, hey, is it really truly worth it? That moment in time, you're not going to get back. Was that moment that you were so bitter, did it really need to consume that amount of time that you had? Did it really matter that much? Was it just your pride that I had to be right at that moment? You got to make it up in your mind that, hey, I don't want it, and I don't need that, and I can't change it. And if I'm not around those people that have made me upset, why am I going to sit here and continue to let what happened with them carry over into the next day and the next day after that? You have to find some way of just really truly resetting yourself, and starting the day, whatever that may be, just starting the day totally, fresh and brand new. And you can't change what happened Monday, all right? You can't. You might be able to write some stuff down and say, hey, I need to do this differently. But what happened yesterday happened yesterday. Focus on right now. Not tomorrow, I got this going on. Focus on this right now. And you'll be a much better person on that. And trust me, it took me time to do that. But now that I'm here, I can't go back. That's the most beautiful thing that you could ever experience. And I try to tell people that when like I said, I had a good friend. I've probably known her maybe a month at the job that I did not know her. And she's going through this medical thing. And I'm like, I'm going to take that journey with you. Nobody else wants to take it. I'm not concerned about anybody else. I said, I want to take that journey with you. Let me do the legwork on this. You focus on this and things of that nature. And that's where I think we all should be, Whatever your issue was, it was an issue. How many issues have y'all had this year? Think about that.
And the thing is, we talked about it we were talking about it when Jeff Hogan was on the show. And I think that it's important that you take an inventory of the things that are right, that are going right for you, and have that mental inventory of the things that are going right. I have my health, I have a family that loves me. I have a wife that loves me. I have a business that is doing special things for people. There's a lot of things that I stack up, and it's just so easy to just sit on one issue and let it stick. And if you want to get yourself out of that funk, just think about the things that are right, and I have my health. Am I going to be pissed off that guy pulled in front of me? No, I got this. I got this. It makes it easier to minimize what that issue is, and scoot it aside, or deal with it, or whatever the case may be. It just all depends.
It all depends. It's. But what if that thing is so big that it affects all the good?
If it's that big, then you surround yourself with people that are going to help you knock this thing down. That the old adage that, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah.
Well, you have people that are going to help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in Omaha, my list was very short. I don't know that I had a list of people I could call that I could tackle a challenge. But if I had a challenge right now that was like overwhelming me, man, I could make a call to AJ, I can make a call to 10 people and we could be in that back conference room and I could throw the shit on the table and I know that when I walk out, I'm going to have a solution.
Yeah.
No matter how big it is. You know, it's just, you know, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of businesses that are having difficult times. There's people having difficult times. Man, just find somebody, find a group that you can go sit down and sometimes all you have to do is talk it out. Sometimes all you got to do is say it and just get it on the table. And just saying it
without even asking for help.
Shit, I can fix this problem myself now that I've heard it. But here's what's interesting, and I think it goes to what we're saying, but I lived it in real time. We're driving down to your event on Saturday morning. We get to that Mix Master downtown. Disaster, right? It's on ramps and off ramps everywhere. My wife makes one comment that I immediately go into tunnel. I get into the tunnel and I start addressing it. And I'm like, and here's why, and this is why, and this is why, and I'm giving it. And I miss the turn. And I'm 6 miles going the wrong direction before I realize, oh shit, I'm going the wrong way. I'm going east. I'm supposed to be going west. I had to turn around on the next exit and everything else. And I realized I got in that tunnel. Nothing else was, I was oblivious to everything else while I was just dealing with this one thing. And it was nothing. But it just goes to show you how tunneled you get, how easy it is to just get on that horse and ride it right off the cliff. And I literally was going, I went the wrong way. All of a sudden I'm in downtown Dallas going, please Siri, get me out of this place. I found out where the homeless people live because I got a chance to wave to all of them because they wanted to clean my windows. Right. So yeah, it was, I made a wrong turn. That was for sure. But it was just, to me, that's kind of, I lived it. You know, I was focused on making one point, and that one point got me on the wrong exit.
Wrong path. I think there's a term now. It's called unhoused.
In-house.
Yeah. Unhoused.
Unhoused.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like.
Yeah. I have two takeaways from AJ's event Saturday. Is one, you almost didn't make it for Saturday at the shop.
Yeah.
Because we were already trying to, like, who's going to replace Pops?
Yeah.
And then you said you're going to drive 80 miles an hour on your,
well,
on your
I went a
AMG,
little
which
faster
is probably
than that.
more.
Yeah.
Two is I can't take my eyes off your kicks right now.
No,
Those
they're
are
pretty.
Carl Langerfeld.
Yeah, they're pretty.
R.I.P. I think
These are the whitest.
I think he died last week.
These are the whitest shoes in the world.
Yeah, they're good looking kicks.
They are. Yeah, I'd wear the
You
shit
know
out
how
of
high I
those.
can
Yeah.
jump in these?
6 inches.
6, 8 inches.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need that. You need somebody that doesn't have the emotional attachment, and they're going to give you the best advice. You know, this was on a positive note, but I was sitting there talking to one of our members. We're having a conversation about sales, and he was talking about how he has 220 customers, and I'm like, you can't service 220 customers. You can only service 70. That's, you know, that's reality. The fact is you can only take care of 70. But he's trying to figure out how to take care of 220. You know what you ought to do? And I gave him an idea, and he's like, oh shit, I didn't even think about that. And it just, you get wound up into this thing. How am I going to knock this thing down? How am I going to deal with all of these customers? Well, let's just take these guys, let's take half of it off. Let's just touch them in a different way. And all they need is a touch.
Yeah.
And then you just go focus on the ones that ring the bell. But in the meantime, don't abandon those. Oh, and then, you know, so he throws it out, but he's stuck he's in the whirlpool. All he sees is, how am I going to deal with all these people? And outside coming in, it was just, I had no emotion. I didn't know who his 220 customers were, but here's an idea. And sometimes that's all it takes to just get you, this is going to be easier than I thought. You know, and the relief that comes with that is huge. Peace of mind is valuable.
Yeah.
There's your one thing right there. If this problem is so big for you, ask yourself, how many times are you a customer here? How many times do you just say, okay, you know what, I need that moment. I'm just going to come in here and I'm just going to sit and I'm just going to have a conversation. Because we've shown that it works for a lot of people in here. You know, so take it and say, Today, I know I'm doing once a week. Now I need to do 3 times a week. I need to make that work because I really need that, you know, and say I got to get away from whatever that problem is. If it's so big, I got to get away from that problem for a second, because now I need to really reevaluate it and think about it. And so I would just recommend doing something like that. I'm just going in and sit. Whether you're in the back, whether you're out front, I'm just going in here and sit. I'm just going to smoke, and I'm not even going to talk about that problem. I'm going to get my mind right, so when I do leave here, I can go and tackle it. And it probably wasn't as big as I really truly thought it was.
Yeah.
It's just because you were in that moment. Like he said, I was in that moment and I missed my turn. You know, you're headed one direction, and then in the moment something happens and you lose sight of everything.
Yeah, those big moments definitely have those big situations have that ability to be that cow, right? You give it that weight.
But that's to you. They probably looked at us and was like, "Is that bad? I got a suggestion on what you should do and things of that nature. And you're really worried about that?
Yeah.
You know, hold on. There's some other things that will come in your life that you're really going to have to work on. And how you deal with this problem will make the other ones a whole lot more easier. Because we're always going to have something going on with
I think I'm going to close this out by saying that the first time that I heard about AJ, I think we were doing the podcast in the public area, sitting on the high top, and I think you were commenting on the show, and just your name alone, AJ Soultrane,
Junior Soultrane.
Junior Soultrane, sorry, and Brandon came out and said, Junior, I don't know who you are, but anyone with the name Junior Soultrane, we need to meet you. And here we are. And I'm so happy that I missed the first podcast that you were on. And I'm so happy that I'm here now. And I appreciate you being here tonight.
I appreciate you.
I also want to, I know we're running low on juice, and I want to just reach out. Zach Patterson is talking about how he's going through a rough time. He lost his grandmother and his great grandmother days apart from each other.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's one of those times where loss also becomes, you know, something that we have to deal with. And there again, the pain of the loss, you know, we're now it'll be almost 4 weeks on Thursday of us having to put a dog down. That was tough for us. Obviously not a grandmother, a great grandmother, but when you can picture the good times, remember all those good times, it definitely takes the sharp edge off of the loss. And, you know, there are times that I'll just sit there and I can still see Bella walking in the pool and doing what she does. And I still see her walking around the house, and it's just, but, you know, you just think about the times you had a good time with them and the happiness that they brought, and that'll soften that edge. That rock will definitely get smoother. Yeah. So, our prayers are going out for you, Zach, and you know, we know this is a tough time for you. We're glad that you found Cigar Talk Live as a place to hang out and be part of it. And looking forward to the next time that you're in Dallas, so we can sit down and have a cigar together.
Definitely. Well, I think with that, I think we should sign this thing off. I don't think we need Judgment Zone tonight.
Nah.
I think this was a solid conversation from the beginning to the end. How truly impactful. Junior, will you sign us off?
Oh, I sign off cigar.
However you want to. I'm curious. How do you sign off?
How anybody listening out there, this mainly goes out to Zach. If you need somebody to talk to, reach out.
There you go.
You know, if you don't have my number, message me and I'll give it to you or whatever. Reach out to one of them. But just know that everybody's here for everybody. And we're here. But this has been a great show, obviously, with you guys. Great show with those that are out there watching us. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate it. Yeah. And we're here for you if you ever need anything.
Absolutely.
Well said.
Cheers.
There you guys.
We're out.
Salute.
See ya.
Salute.
Salute.